up, YouTube? It's your boy Anime Specialist. So this episode of Sword Art Online Alicization was just amazing. The animation and the choreography for the fight were superb. So let's get right to it. So obviously last week Selkia was caught by the goblins, and there's just one thing that I didn't really like about this part of the episode. It was that the goblins, the little goblins, they were kind of CGI, and I didn't really like it. I would have liked them to be more animated like Kirito was and the big goblin was, but it's okay, I guess. But yeah, it was kind of weird to see them CGI. Another thing that I want to say is that the music was just amazing, man. Obviously, it was the music from season 1, Epic Battle, the OST. Every time this music goes on, you know that it's about to go down, you know. So it was really a well made fight. Obviously, Kirito against the bigger goblin, the leader, was just amazing. And the thing that was surprising to me, we know that he's in the underworld, so basically his soul is put into not a virtual reality, but another world. And it seems like he said that the way that he got injured, it hurt a lot more than it should have been in the virtual world. So we know right now, I think it's example, sorry, that he can actually die in the underworld, so we'll see. He also said that the big goblin might have been a fluxlight, so another human soul put in the underworld, and he was kind of surprised that he didn't beat the goblin faster or quicker, because he hit him a lot of time with his sword skill and he wasn't dead. So it's not like when he was in Encrane, when he hit him maybe twice or 3 times and then the enemy is dead. It's really different. So that's a sequence that I really like because it explains a lot of things without any words. So yeah, man. For the first time in the show, Yu-Gi-Oh stepped up. Kirito was going to die, and then Yu-Gi-Oh came in and fought the Goblin. It was a quick fight because the Goblin just slashed the hell out of Yu-Gi-Oh. He almost died because of that. But Kirito, obviously, he defeated the Goblin, but it was amazing because he used all sort of sword skill at the beginning of the fight, and at the end of the fight he used another sword skill, and he just cut the head off of the Goblin. So it was a really an amazing fight. We saw all kind of sword skill that Kirito has. I don't know if his sword skill from Anchored transferred to the underworld, because he knows everything and he basically can do everything, you know. The only thing that is left for him to have is a competent sword. So yeah, it was an amazing fight, I think. So after that, Saka had to use a sacred art to save Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's quite interesting because every time a character in this show uses a sacred art, they call the system. So we already know that Kirito is in the underworld, but it's really clear that they are, you know. So every time they're using a sacred art, they're using the system. So that's, I think, a quite interesting thing for me. Something that I forgot is that Yuji was remembering Kirito when they were kids with Alice. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he was going to die, but even Kirito was starting to remember some things, you know. So this was interesting also, but we'll see maybe in next week's episode, because I think it's gonna be another pretty good episode next week. But it was really interesting that Yuji remembered Kirito for a minute. But yeah. One of the best things in this episode was when Kirito and Alice was transferring their life force to Yu-Gi-Oh! A spirit appeared, and I actually think it's Alice. The reason why I think it's Alice is because she said something pretty interesting. She said that she'll always wait for Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh! And that she'll wait in the biggest tower in Central City. So I think maybe it was Alice, but I also think one of the reasons that I think it's her is because we all know that Alice is a prodigy. She was able to use sacred art. She's even better than her little sister. So I think she used sacred art to communicate with Kirito. So yeah, man, we'll see maybe in next week's episode. of Sword Art Online Alicization. So anyway, in the last two reviews that I did of Sword Art Online Alicization, I said that Kirito was going to use the blue sword and his sword skills to cut the demon tree, and they actually did in this episode. It was obvious, obviously, because it was easy to foreshadow, but it was kind of cool to see them cut the demon tree, because obviously we know that Kirito, for him to leave this little town to go to the central city, he had to cut the demon tree because it was the calling of Yuji, and he couldn't leave this village because his calling wasn't done. So what Kirito did was actually to train Yujiro to use a sword skill to be a swordsman, and they did. And the thing that is pretty interesting to me is that it seems like, I don't know if it's true, but it seems like the sword is smaller than it was in last week's episode. I don't know if it's true, but we'll see. Now that Yujiro's calling is done, he chose to be a swordsman like Kirito, and they're leaving the town for the central city. And I'm wondering if they're going to go straight to the city or if they're going to encounter other characters or other villains while they go there in next week's episode, but we'll see. At the end of the episode, we saw that Yujiro still has the sword. I guess that Kirito let him have the sword, obviously, because it's Yujiro that found it in his head. But Kirito is bringing something with him. It's in a bag, a big bag. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's his sword. I don't know how he acquired it, but maybe it's another sword that Kirito found or something. But yeah, man, this episode was amazing, in my opinion. The best episode of the season so far. I'm hyped to know what's gonna happen next. Like I said, the animation and art is as amazing as it ever is, and the choreography for the fight against the Goblin was just amazing, man. The only thing I didn't like was the CGI goblins, but except for that, everything was good. The music was amazing and everything. So let me know what you thought about this week's episode in the comments down below. I put it 9 out of 10 because it was so good, man. I'm really happy about this episode. So I do Sword Art Online Alicization reviews every Saturday, and I do other anime related things. I review other anime series like One Piece, Black Clover. Yeah, man, like, comment, subscribe for more videos like this. It would help my channel a lot. I like doing these things. I like discussing anime with other people. So yeah, man, let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know what you thought about this week's episode of Sword Art Online. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Anime Specialist out. Peace.